ToonGrin.com.
Hi, Georgie.
Buongiorno everyone, Nero here, and welcome to Who's Who, a show that spotlights characters from the vast entertainment spectrum. Today we take a look at a horror icon that defines the idea of the creepy clown. Close, but I was thinking one that targets children.
There's nothing like the great outdoors, and the far-flung forest is the best, of course. If you want to get close to the greenery, then camping in the wild is the place to be.
Well, you got me there, but no, I meant Pennywise the Dancing Clown. For those of you who don't know, Pennywise is also known as the entity It. He is the featured antagonist in Stephen King's novel of the same title, as well as a 1990 TV miniseries and a 2017 film adaptation. Now, you may have heard of the character before. He certainly has become a pop cultural icon, rivaling the likes of Freddy Krueger and Jason Voorhees. But who is this creepy clown? Where did he come from? What is It? While Pennywise was first introduced in the novel It, published in 1986, for many of us, myself included, Pennywise was introduced in the 1990 TV miniseries Stephen King's It, where Pennywise terrorized a group of Dairy Maine kids calling themselves the Losers Club.
I'll kill you all. I'll drive you crazy and I'll kill you all. I'm every nightmare you ever had. I am your worst dream come true. I'm everything you ever were afraid of.
This sadistic child traumatizing clown was portrayed by the brilliant Brit Tim Curry, who managed to capture a sense of comedy as well as horror with the character. Most people now tend to mock Tim on how he just isn't scary.
Take your pick, Billy boy. Oh, except for the one on the end. That's already taken. Sorry.
Now sure, as an adult, this is nothing short of Batman 66 levels of goofy, but imagine yourself as a child. You're the only one who can see this clown. He can even read your mind to know your fears, and on top of that, he can take any form that your nightmares can conceive. So there's this entity that maliciously teases you about how it will kill you, your friends, and that it will devour you. If there was this invisible tormentor that only you can see, and couldn't tell anyone to get help, that can appear anywhere, everywhere, change your environment, and do things like saturate you in blood, wouldn't you be horrified? Now the big question is, where did this transforming horror come from? Well, it seems many millennia before mankind, It, the being that becomes Pennywise, crashed into Earth as a ball of fire from the void known as the Macroverse, a separate yet surrounding universe around our own. And I know how that sounds. Stephen King plays around with a lot of otherworldly concepts that tend to catch people off guard. This is one of them. So instead of something simple like a demon, it's gotta be this multiversal eldritch abomination that is from centuries ago beyond the veils of reality. Nevertheless, Pennywise fell into a slumber for thousands of years, and humans eventually settled and established the town of Derry in the early 18th century around the crash site. And of course Maine, as most Stephen King books tend to do. It's during this time Pennywise finally awoke and began a cycle of terror every 30 years, feeding off the fear provided by Derry's inhabitants and killing them, particularly children. The form of Pennywise the Dancing Clown is just the entity's favorite form, as it is the best suited to lure in and kill kids. So why are children his primary targets? Well, for Pennywise, who can read his victims' minds to grasp their fears, he finds that children's fears are easier to manipulate and interpret into a physical form, thus making children easier to fill with terror, which Pennywise says is akin to salting the meat.
You all taste so much better when you're afraid.
Now, even though he's a deranged, psychopathic, semi-phenomenal, nearly cosmic powerful space clown, Pennywise does have limits that his victims, in this case the Losers Club, can use to their advantage. Now sure, Pennywise can do all sorts of things like shapeshift, conjure illusions, be partially invisible, regenerate his body, speak telepathically, brainwash his victims, teleport, perform telekinesis, control the weather, and perform floricide, in which he can kill plants by being near them. Now sure, that's a long list of very godly powers at his disposal, but like I said, even Pennywise has his limits. Firstly, due to his immense power, Pennywise is incredibly cocky, and is not modest about showing that off.
Won't do any good to run, girly boy. See you in your dreams. Oh, come back anytime. Bring your friends.
Pennywise likes biding his time to play with his food, and often makes mistakes and does illogical things as a child-murdering monster. For example, in the novel, one of his kills involves Pennywise popping out of a toilet to murder a child, and yet he didn't just use the same technique to kill the losers one by one. This is a key part of his character flaw. Pennywise is a god, or at least he believes himself to be akin to one, so the concept of a mortal or mortals even being a threat to him is a laughable notion.
I'll drive you crazy and I'll kill you all.
So luckily for his victims, this apparent weakness can be used as an advantage to fight and outsmart him. For a more literal weakness, when Pennywise transforms, he must obey the laws of the physical realm. Unlike in his home universe, on Earth he needs to have a material form to interact with his victims, meaning in his physical forms, he's vulnerable to attack. For example, if Pennywise is morphed into a werewolf like when he attacks young Seth Green, Pennywise would have to adhere to the weakness of Silver. Even then, in terms of brute strength, the losers are just a bunch of kids, so there aren't any real heavy hitters in their group to fight. Luckily, they have the power of friendship to protect them. Or to put it in a less ridiculous manner, Pennywise is weak to a strong consolidation of emotion, so when the losers come together, their shared will and love for each other overpowers Pennywise. Speaking of his clown form, this is just its favored form. What is it, actually? Is it perhaps a poorly implemented giant stop-motion spider thing?
Damn it, hell.
Oh, not really. That's just the miniseries and its dated effects. Actually, the spider form isn't even the entity's true form, like the 1990s miniseries would have you believe. See, this is another one of those greater extra-dimensional concepts. The spider is actually just the closest physical representation of its true form, as best that we can perceive it on Earth. Basically, the story lays it bare that we humans are so stupid or simple a species that the only way we can even kind of conceive the true form of this horror from beyond the stars is to equate it to something you can defeat with a boot. It's actually really kind of sad when you stop and think about it. Now, unlike the 90s miniseries, the novel does go into better detail about it, describing the monster as an endless, crawling, hairy creature made up of a torrent of screaming orange light. King even uses the Lovecraftian trait by stating that its deadlights, its true form, can see beyond the physical realm, and a mere gaze drives any living being that witnesses them instantly insane. This is a common trait of Lovecraft's creatures, that simply gazing upon their visage can drive one mad, or sometimes cutting out the middleman and just killing them. So it is a Lovecraftian orange light, but this extra-dimensional foe needs a fitting adversary. So Stephen King develops Pennywise's greatest enemy, Maturin, the turtle. Truly the next logical creature god of the cosmos next to infinitely screaming orange lights is a turtle. Cowabunga. Like Pennywise, Maturin exists long before the creation of the universe, and is Pennywise's polar opposite. Maturin represents creation, and he is in fact the creator of our universe. So yeah, basically, God is not some dude with a beard, but rather a large reptile who may have a beard. You know what? He should totally have a beard. Put a beard on that turtle. Now we're talking. That's radical. Now, since Maturin was omitted from the 90s miniseries, we turn once again to the novel, where like any other lazy deity, Maturin largely plays the role of a spectator to the events that unfold in Derry. However, Maturin does intervene by giving advice to the losers, telling them of a ritual to help defeat Pennywise. While the large turtle is a rather, well, insane in premise, and that's saying something given the killer clown from outer space, I think it's a neat concept. I've always loved the idea of a greater cosmology, The idea that there are these two representations of universal forces. The turtle representing creation, while the clown represents consumption. Thus, they are eternal enemies in an infinite battle. I've always loved the grandiose cosmology stuff like that. It's like the ones you find in Neil Gaiman's Sandman. Yet, I can't help but think that the turtle, while hinted at, will likely just be dropped as a whole from the 2017 film, like it was in the 1990s miniseries. Because while the concept sounds amazing and would be awesome to see, it's likely to streamline a film, they're just gonna drop it. Which is a shame because getting a large-scale cosmology concept would be really cool, and it would be true to the novel. Plus, and this is just a thought on my part, but you can get Sam Elliott to do the voice of Maturin.
I got a job for you.
I'm not really good at jobs.
I need you to keep on the dodge and sidle up the loblolly past them hornheads, just hooting and hollering and score off them rustlers. We'll cut dirt and get the bulge on them.
What?
Don't overthink it.
How awesome would that be? I guess one big point here now comes down to the opinion of who is the superior Pennywise. Is it Tim Curry's portrayal from the 1990 miniseries? Or is it Bill Skarsgård from the 2017 film? My opinion is both. Tim Curry plays the role as a delightful sadist and actually does capture the character's ego established in the novel. Tim plays it that Pennywise seems untouchable, and it's as if Pennywise knows no one can stop him.
I am eternal, child. I am the eater of worlds and of children. And you are next.
Even though the losers were the only ones ever to hurt him, Pennywise still comes back in the losers' adulthood and still just delights in screwing with them and is so amused by just instilling fear into them.
Kiss me, bad boy.
With Bill Skarsgård's performance, it seems the idea is to approach the character to be off-putting. So now Pennywise acts rather playful and has childish mannerisms that you could arguably associate with the clown.
What a nice boat. Do you want it back?
Yes, please.
You look like a nice boy. Do you want a balloon too, Georgie?
I did say arguably. Granted, it is different than Tim Curry's more sarcastic, almost Freddy Krueger-esque approach with the character, but by no means is it better than Tim's portrayal. It's just a different portrayal. So when it comes to my Pennywise of choice, I don't really prefer one over the other. I simply like both of them for different reasons towards the performance. My biggest piece of criticism between the two actually comes in terms of character design. I like the idea of the 2017 version with its outfit being something a bit more time-locked looking, like a centuries-old attire for a clown and less contemporary. The orange hair is also a very brilliant touch, representing the orange deadlights that encompasses its true form. However, the 90s miniseries captured more of how Pennywise is described in the book. Quote, "It was a clown, like in the circus or on TV. In fact, he looked like a cross between Bozo and Clarabelle." Now, I don't expect the film to do the exact same look as the 1990s miniseries. That's fine. You, of course, want to do your own thing. Kudos there. But the whole point to the Pennywise persona is that it uses the form to lure in children. That said, the question I pose is, which one looks like a child would be more likely to approach? Now, I've read countless blogs, and I've seen countless videos that say, Tim Curry didn't look scary. Duh, that's the point. The Pennywise persona is meant to appear harmless. It's a lure to get close to the food. Skarsgård version has no barrier. He looks demonic right out of the gate. He's got a bulbous head with cracked skin. He's got that crimson smile piercing his eyes. He's got those elongated, gangly arms and legs. Look, I can at least understand a kid going up to the 90s version, as it looks like a clown you'd see at a carnival or a circus. Mind you, it would still be out of place if it was in a frickin' sewer main or on a street corner, but it at least looks like a clown. You could kinda get a sense that, oh, it's just a clown. The 2017 version, I feel, lacks subtlety in its appearance. Look at this thing. Where the hell would you ever spot a clown like this? Maybe Coney Island. Maybe even just Jersey. I do think, however, the Skarsgård one does have the advantage of coming off sounding more childish and playful, thus kind of capturing you off with a sense of whimsy.
I'm not supposed to take stuff from strangers.
Oh, well, I'm Pennywise the Dancing Clown. Now we aren't strangers, are we?
While 90s Pennywise felt like it captured the idea of a playful sadist, I feel like 2017's portrayal captures a sense of cheerful menace all his own, while pushing it to be off-putting. Also, I just gotta say, because it's not said enough, major kudos to the makeup department, who made both these actors just vanish into their character designs. You wouldn't even be able to guess who these actors are by visual alone. I believe both actors will leave their marks with this character, and given that Pennywise has only ever been portrayed twice, I figure, why not enjoy both? But I guess the simple question comes down to, which do you really prefer? Yeah, I guess that was a really silly question. Well, watchers, that's Pennywise the Dancing Clown, and now you know who's who. Hey, thanks for watching. Please do me a solid and hit that like button, and be sure to share our videos and subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to keep up to date with us, visit our website, ToonGrin.com. Also, if you'd like to support ToonGrin, consider joining our Patreon, where the power of what we review is yours to command. You can also shop at our TeePublic store and purchase any number of goodies from shirts to stickers. Links are in the description below. Thanks for stopping by, and be sure to tune in to ToonGrin.